You hear that? Probably not, because it stopped right when I started recording. The sound of a blower. People are outside enjoying the nice weather. Not me. I'm decompressing. It's the morning after Christmas, and I'm still just putting myself back together. You know, when you host, things get pretty intense. Had a great time. Great holiday. Everybody seemed to enjoy their gifts and all of their time together, and there's a lot of thoughtfulness and just lots of good memories. Turbo's looking at one of his Christmas presents right now. How are they doing in there, Turbs? You like your new fish? Yep. Got him some giant goldfish at the pet store. Huge. There's little pond comets. They're like $10. And I was like, all right. They're probably going to be being sold as feeders, so let's go ahead and grab them. Let's get two of these big guys to toss in here. It's partially for Turbo, and also partially because that helps keep the water nice and rich. I had to pause because I had to burp. Sorry, inappropriate, but that's just the way it goes being a human. Sometimes when you talk, you get air in your stomach, and then you end up burping. Yeah, keeps the water nice and lively. I also have some like white cloud minnows in there and some feeder goldfish. I think there's a couple jewel cichlids in there too. It's kind of just become the space where just random fish go, and they're all doing fine. It's nice and warm there. Water is 79. And their greenhouse today is 77, and it is 64 outside. It is a beautiful day. Oh, and I just had to pause to sneeze. All the noises are coming out right now. So, I was thinking, since we have a couple of days of this nice weather, this will be long past by the time this video comes out. We just have a few nice days, and it's supposed to drop into the like teens and 20s, I think, in a few days. That I should go ahead and move some more palms in here. I have a whole bunch of, bamboo palms in the grow space, and I think they would do well in here. I also moved one of these spindles out just because I thought, you know what, why not? Let's give it a try. So this is really taking a leap of faith. This is a big old fingers crossed that the winds don't rip this thing up and off the ground and just expose everything this winter. That's what we want to avoid. There are some storms coming tomorrow. When that happens, I'm going to pull the green stalk out and lower these sidewalls down. I have these up a little bit high because I had to get the lid, you know, the top of the green stalk, this thing, that part right there, the piece you pour the water into, right? Well, it doesn't fit on here if this is down another notch, but that's okay. I can take this off and set it on the ground. I'd also like to find some string and just wrap that around this piece and pull that up because it's making walking into this space really annoying. So you gotta traverse through the frond there. Oh, there they are. There's Turbo's fish. You loving your new fish, Turbo? I know, not much to see. They're just chilling. I think they haven't gotten used to you yet, bud. They'll get used to you. It's gonna take them some time. You guys will be friends. I promise you'll be friends someday. Actually, also, I have an aerator I need to throw in here. 79s, that's on the warm side for goldfish. But as long as it's nice and oxygen rich, that's okay. But they would prefer it to be more cool than that. Yeah, I have an aerator that I can throw in there. That'll help bring that temperature down a few degrees. What are you doing? You can't stand on the pool. You know not to do that. Look, sandals. December 26th, we're in sandals. Alright, grab the gorilla cart. Actually, also thinking of pull anything that's in here that can be recycled out or reused. I'm going to take this and dump it. Thinking I'll probably dump this up here. Watch out, Turbs. Watch out, Turbo. Yeah, right up there. It's so nice to be outside. Be working outside. I don't do any gardening, but that's okay. There's so much cleanup to be done. This is just as nice. This is all just excess soils, things like that. Things that have fallen out of pots or out of root balls when I've been moving things around. Good amount of potting soil and some dirt, leaves. I haven't had anything in here that I thought had any diseases, anything like that. Just, you know, good old dirt and potting mix. Look at that. That's so much better. Still some dirt, but not too much. Lots of recycling. 12 people. That's a lot for Christmas. So, let's start with you. Bamboo palm. You can go. Are you going to stay in your pot? Probably not. Let's just try it like that. The nice thing about doing this today is I can get these guys loaded up and get them cleaned up too before taking them in there. If anybody needs to be sprayed, I can spray them. You know, I want to get a lot of this stuff handled, all that brown stuff taken care of. Debating the Robolini, I don't know. Well, here, let me move some things. Washingtonia, I think that would probably do fine. I really do. I think that would be okay out there. One of the reasons I'd like to get some of these guys out to the greenhouse is I think it would actually be easier to keep them going in the greenhouse. How big is the cut? I just pot you into a new container. It can be difficult. Come on, come on. There we go. Keeping some of these guys hydrated when they aren't getting the same amount of light. So everything in the front here doesn't get as much light. So I don't want to water them as much. And I think the bamboo palms really prefer to just get the light and be watered. You know what I mean? The other plants like the Washingtonias where they'll chill for several weeks without throwing any kind of fit. The bamboos, not really. They don't usually do as well with that. Okay, well I got a pot, but I don't have mix. That's okay. Step in the right direction. At least just keep this guy together with this new container. The problem is I have a whole bunch of mix. It's from Proven Winners, and it's a horrible batch. The batch they sent is just it's really clumpy and wet, and I would really rather not use it. I'm going to end up spreading it. I'm not thrilled about that, but you know, those things happen sometimes. Another bamboo palm. See, they're dry. They're dry. I need to get these to a spot where they're easier to water. Yeah, they'll be okay. They're really tough plants. They can handle it, but you know, it's kind of always the plan was that get through the holidays, it's a very busy time of year, and then after Christmas, you just hope for a few nice days to get some of these other projects done with the larger plants. And then I have all of January and February and March, really, to work with the other plants that are in here. And I can just take the windmill palm back out. That doesn't need to be in here. I thought about moving the brugmansias into that greenhouse, but they're being high maintenance as far as the spraying goes, so I don't know, I think they're going to stay here. Aphid magnets. Okay, now Washingtonia. I do think they would do well, but they're very spiky. They're also doing really well in here, so it's like, I don't, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Not this one. I think this one would probably do better out there in the, what are we calling it, greenhouse? Got my clippers in the greenhouse ready to go. Yeah, that'll be better. Working at some more direct light. It needs direct light. That one has a curve growing on it, which is pretty cute for a few years, but in a pot, having a curved trunk like that on a plant that gets a pretty hefty trunk, not so much fun. I don't know if y'all remember years ago, I did a thing where I took some queen palms and some washies, and I planted them on their side. And we grew them out for a few years to get some really cool curved trunks on them, and it was awesome, but also a total freaking nightmare. Because they didn't want to stand up, obviously. They have a curved trunk, so they're just always falling over. So that's not going to work. I don't really want to do that. The Robellini, I feel like it would do great in that greenhouse, but it's doing surprisingly well in here. So I guess I'll just leave it here. All right, there it is. So this is the first round. I gotta, you know, clean them up, get them in there, and see how much room there is even left for everything, right? The nice thing about the bamboo palms is they don't take up a lot of space. Whatever they take up on the ground is pretty much what they take up top. They don't have much of a spread. They have that nice fastigiate type growth almost. Upright. They don't hang in all directions too much. So these should be good to go in there. The washies, like I said, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to start with these first. It's going to be a multi-part project. It's not a big deal, but I do still have family in town, and the 2 nice days we have left, or the 2 last days are here. So I went ahead and just did this while I had a chance, but they're on the way over now, and these will be fine out here for the rest of the day, even into tomorrow and the day after. So that's good. They can have a little vacation outside. We'll look at some morning sun and afternoon shade, and then get them in that greenhouse. See if I can source some potting mix to bump some of these up into nicer containers. Okay, typically I know we say a nice sandy mix for the palm trees. I think this goes too far. Those are my pine needles. That didn't come in the mix. I just pulled this bamboo palm out of its container, and the bottom of the container was just full of this. It's basically a straight up sand, which is, you know, okay, but if you don't live in a humid climate and you aren't watering all the time, not the best. So I am blending up all that soil that was unused. The roots had not moved at all into that. It's so sandy that the soil just came right out. So I did find a bag of the Proven Winners mix here that wasn't as chunky. It's totally fine. This is a good bag. And I need to come through and try and scrape out some of these pieces from the pine that got in there. A few stuck behind, it's okay. Want to get a bunch from out though. And I'm going to repot this guy into this container. Not an ideal time of year for repotting, but you know, I don't think the plant would have been very happy if I had just kept it as it is, right? Basically didn't have any soil around its root ball. Do a height check. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. I want it to be down a little ways. I didn't want to bump this in the same size container that was already in, only because, well, I don't have any 10-inch pots right now that looked like they were stable. Looks like they were just going to fall apart. I actually think it was a 12-inch. Same difference, though. It just didn't look like they were going to be any better, right? So why bother? Just like to bump up some hits. A nice, hard, heavy-duty plastic. And I did spend a while in here cleaning these two up. You have to do that a few times a year with the bamboo palms. If they're growing well, you usually got to come in. Do some grooming on them. It's pretty easy stuff. These brown pieces, once they brown all the way down, these just pop right off. But this is an example of one that will not pop off, and that's because the plant is not hydrated. So I'm going to give that a few weeks, and then it should pull off just like this piece right here, except better. They just pop right off. This one right there, I'd have to pull too hard on the trunk. Same thing with what's left right there. See, that's not quite ready to go. Okay, I top dressed this one. Some compost and some potting mix. That one has a fresh potting mix. I think I'm going to try the Robolini in there. May as well. They have a couple of Chinese fan palms that have a lot of frost damage on them. I'm going to probably just cut everything off of them. Not this stuff. This is good. So this can stay. That can stay. Even that can stay. But all of, obviously the brown. And these drier ones, I don't think they're pulling anything from those anymore. But maybe I should give that another week and let them start to brown some more. So they're going to pull some of that energy back in. They're not mushy, so it's not like full-on rot. It's just a matter of, well, getting them cleaned up and making sure that the crown is nice and open. Crown being down in here. Crown needs to be nice and open, right? Air needs to move around it so it can push out new growth. Always so fun trying to get the leaves out of the crowns of palms that are full of spiky little jabby things. All right, everything's in. Brought in the Robolini. Clean out the container. I don't know what this is. I can't remember if it's something I planted. Looks like it's some kind of legume. Might be a weed. But I thought, well, you know what? We'll just leave it and let it do its thing and see what happens to it. I don't recall underplanting this container with anything, so I'm going to go with it's probably a weed. We'll find out. Time will tell. Did a little bit of rearranging. Moved just, you know, some of the little guys around. I have bamboo palms lined up along this back wall over to this corner, and I pulled some plants that are in that back corner and brought them over here. So I have the Austin Pretty Limits oleander over here. I just feel like that's going to do better up by the wall. This guy can take a good amount of colds. Oleanders, they're good zone 8 and warmer parts of 7B, fully root hardy through zone 7. I'm talking about the Nerium oleanders. Not all of them are going to be the same, but do your research. Some are more hardy than others. This one, I had it with 2 other oleanders last year that were just the Calypso pinks. They died while this was sitting right next to them, looking just beautiful outside in the cold. So, you know, it's been tough. Thought that'd be good to have on this wall that's more exposed here. The wall over here is much more protected. There's a brick wall behind everything. Okay, bring you over here so you can have a look. See? Brick wall. It's not right up against the green high turbo. Not right up against the greenhouse, but it's close enough. The wind, like from right here and over, nowhere near as extreme. It's really that corner that has to bear the brunt of it. And this corner over here. So I have those weighted down with some humongous flower pots, giant pots that went around the pool. During the summertime, I have some sandbags. There's lots of weighted things down over there. I found some ratchet straps, and I'm going to put those over the top of this and anchor them down to the ground on the outside. I just need to find my anchors. So once I have those, I'll get that weighted down. Then I also, I know, deviated wildly there. I thought they'd be better back there. It's a little bit more protected. There shouldn't be quite as much wind blowing through the bottom of the plastic on that side. So have one here. That's one that just got repotted. And then I have the fat Ziess in the back that was already out here. Bamboo palms all the way through. Main thing is going to be making sure that I'm really getting back there into these 2 corners to keep them watered, right? Cooler temps. Right now it's 77 in here. Quite warm, but that's also because it's like 70 outside. So, you know. That's not normal, though. In a couple days, I think the high tomorrow is 66, and then it's supposed to rain. Then the next day it's 71, and then the next day the high is 19, or maybe it's 22. It keeps changing. So, you know, I'm just saying, this warmth has been nice, getting some things done, but that's not going to last. Should be okay in here, though. I'm thinking. We will see. There's going to be a lot of wind that comes with a drop from 71 to 22, right? That's going to be a big test. to how well this thing's going to hold up. That's all my fault. That has nothing to do with the people who made this greenhouse. I forgot to put the support pole in. I set it up, and then we had like 6 inches of very, very, very heavy snow, and the whole thing just went and collapsed because I forgot about this. I came out and I put it in, and it's up now. Yay! But you know, well, all that happened. It's okay. Structure's still standing, and feeling pretty tight. I'm not feeling a lot of cold drafts, so I really wouldn't. It's not that cold out. I think we're going to be okay. I have the Robolini set about a foot away from the wall. That'll help keep the draft off of it. I just moved a few things around over here. And then over here on this side, I have the Washingtonia. I made sure to put the spiky plant where it's going to leaf out, right where you walk through. So it'll just stab you right in the legs and in the crotch when you walk through. Real smart, huh? Now, I'll move it. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. It seems fine. I pruned off some old foliage and I don't know, it's good. Spindle's good. It's fairly narrow here. I could tie that up. That's driving me a little crazy, but I'm not too concerned about it. The main thing was getting all of those bamboo palms moved in here. One spindle, just as an experiment, and one of the washies, again, as an experiment. If the Pindu's going to do okay in here, which it should, because it was in here last year, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was. I don't know. All the windmills did fine in here. The Pindu, the Petunia down there, I think it'll be fine. I have grown those outdoors here in 6B, 7A before. They needed a greenhouse put over them, and they had to be wrapped in lights for much of the winter time to keep them warm, but it was doable. And green stock got a good watering. That's been cleaned up. Everything's feeling not super moist, but moist enough. I need to pull this. That's a carrot. That's a carrot. Look at that. It's rotten because I pulled it up and showed it to Elle, then forgot about it, and then said, I'm not going to leave that in here. I'm going to set it back in there. It's the same problem. That's what was happening before. There we go. I'll set that right there. The wildlife will find it. I think that's good on everything in the greenhouse, at least for right now. And I'm just going to clean up these Chinese fan palms and just have to watch the weather and hope for the best. Is that better? Okay, you might be wondering, what the heck? A couple things going on here. I don't forget this one too. I mentioned that I don't mind exposing these guys to some cold. When palms are younger, they're more sensitive to the cold. However, they're also more adaptable. So I just like to give them a few degrees more cold temperatures every single year until I think they're probably about to their breaking point, and it just makes for a more resilient plant for my climate. Something you can give a try. You don't have to. This was a twofold situation of this year because I was like, well, I'm going to try and keep these. So let's go ahead and just let them take some frost, let them take some cold, because that's going to be their lives now living here. And they also have soft scale, which I've been treating. A lot of it's cleaned off. You can still see some remnants from that. It's just it's a white powder. It's a white powder, and there's little floofs in there. It looks kind of like mealybugs, but also not. So having the cold, I thought might help with that. It really didn't. No, they pretty much just kept doing their thing. But having the foliage off, now I can get in there and I can spray. Well, I can spray better, see, and try and get down inside those crowns, because that's where they hide. Where they seem to come up from is inside the crowns. This would have been a great time. Was that just my hand? I'm so sorry. Also, probably should have been hitting this with a copper-based fungicide, but, well, here we are, and they seem fine. It's been a couple weeks since they've had any extreme cold. I want to say the coldest I let these go down to was like, well, actually, they took an accidental 17. That was that night where they were like, oh, it's going to be like 28. And nope, they were way wrong about that. Really messed that forecast up. That's happened a few times this year. But you know what? It was brief, and they're fine. It's been a few weeks. There's still movement out of their center spears, and that's what we want to see. This is the, I gotta keep shaking it up, insecticidal super soap from Captain Jack's. It's a bonide product. It's mostly spinosad and some potassium. Well, it's mostly the potassium and it's soap. False. Fatty salts, fatty acids, and salt. My goodness. You get it. Scale aphid, whitefly, spider mites. If it sticks to the bug, it does a pretty good job. I like this because it's thick. You can shake it up and you can feel it foam up on the inside. And a lot of the other things, unless you add a sticker, they don't really do what you want to. They don't linger, right? So I'm giving these a really good spray. Top of the foliage, bottom of the foliage, all the way down, all the way around the sides, just drenching them, and then then they're good to go in. And I'll keep this in the greenhouse this winter. I'm sure I'll be needing it plenty. All right, go ahead and take this guy in there. Also, hey, Not so bad knocking it back because it gives me some more room to move around. Not that I have all that much space left in here, but that's all right. As much as I would like to keep this a really cool little hangout for the winter time, the real point was to be able to overwinter plants. So as long as I have my safe path that I keep nice, clean, and clear for the heaters, and I can get through it safely and not gonna be stepping on things, I'd say we're good. I'm gonna set this guy right here, right in front of that stable. That should be a good spot. That should be good right there. This one's just on top of some succulents I didn't even intend on bringing in. That's just going to keep it lifted off the ground. They're mostly dormant, so I'm not worried about smushing them or anything like that. There's a lip on the pot that has it lifted up above the swell, so there's still some air movement. So bring this in here, set it back here with my bucket of supplies and recycling. And then that Robellini needs some water. Otherwise, I'd say we're good to go in here. Not a lot to do out in the grow space right now either because, well, there's just not. Everything's good. I just watered out there. Things are looking happy. I know this guy's thirsty, though. I moved it out here and I was like, whoa, that pot does not weigh what it should. There's a good amount of soil in this container. It's a 15-gallon with a very solid root mass and a lot of soil in there. So I know he needs a drink. I'm not going to be watering the same in here. Oh, I'm so sorry. There you go. There's your beautiful shot of the water. I'm not going to be watering in here the same way I would during the summer, but I don't want to let them dry out for too long either, right? Don't want things sopping wet. Don't want to be bone dry either. It's a happy in-between for the plants. And as long as it's in the mid-70s in here, they still need a good amount of water. But the day lengths are also short, right? They're going to start to get longer. It's that time of year, right? Slowly. We're just into the winter solstice, so it's going to slowly have longer days and more light for everything. Once that happens. What was I saying? So sorry, I got really distracted. Turbo is behind me looking at the fish. Yeah, the day lengths are still short too, so things aren't really growing much, but they're growing enough that I don't want them to be dry. If it were even just like 10 degrees cooler in here, then I would be watering far, far, far less frequently. But as long as it's over 70, probably have to water about once a week. I don't think it's going to stay over 70 in here very much, though. This is probably about the end of that until, I don't know, March. We'll have several warm days, I'm sure, that pop up in February. We usually have like some random 60-degree days, maybe even 70-degree days in February, but you know, usually it's not until March when we'll have consistent temperatures that are above 30, and even then, it's not, you just never know. We've had snow in early May around Mother's Day. You just don't know what you're going to get. But yeah, this is all good. Looking pretty good in here. Got the floor blown again, cleared out. I try and do that at least once a week, and or just whenever I see a bunch of debris landing on the ground. Yuccas are good. They're not getting any water. They got water about a week ago, week and a half. They seem good. And I think the bamboo palms are moist enough. I don't want to push it, right? Although since we still have 48 hours left until that cold hits, maybe I will. I'm going to go ahead and water them all. That's what I should do. Water them. Sorry, thinking out loud here. Water them all because it would be better to get some water into their pots now instead of having a big drop in temperature outside and not being able to give things very much water while that's going on. It would just make more sense for these to be at the sweet spot for their moisture in their container than to be watering them when it's 19 degrees outside, right? Because then they're more likely to freeze solid if something should happen. If a heater should break or if the wind should rip something, right? Then, yeah, they won't be frozen blocks. I do have a sensor in here that will alert me. I have it set to alert me at 30 degrees. So if it hits 30 in here, then it's going to let me know and I can pull things in. Or no, I reset it to 35. So at 35 degrees, it'll let me know. I can check out what's going on. And if it's something bad, like, I don't know, if the whole thing is blown away, then I guess I just got to move the plants inside, which is doable. Not the Chinese fan palms. If that happens, then they're toast. They're screwed. But everything else in here, it's small enough I could get those inside in a matter of, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. If even. I don't think it would even take quite that long. All right, this is good. Feels good to have this done. I don't think I'm going to need to be doing anything else in here once I'm done watering these guys. So, I don't know, pick up and do something in the grow space later, probably. Here we go. Today is the day. Winter is here. Winter is coming. What was the line from? Looks like I don't have pants on. I have pants on. Game of Thrones. It's not cold yet. I got an alert last night It was 92 degrees in here. That's too hot. I came out and turned the other heater off. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on now and zip this thing shut. It's so beautiful outside. I don't even want to have to like say goodbye to this nice weather. We had some cold weather and it was nice. Had a reprieve for a month or so. And I'm like, okay, we can go ahead and do summer now. I got spoiled by the unseasonable nice weather. Oh, having to make sure that that thing is zipped down all the way because somebody's the one had to stick his nose in there and pop it open. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Turbs. Ooh, he had a good bath yesterday. 2 shampoos in a deep condition. Got the moisturizer on his joints and his feet. That's where he always gets itchy. It's so soft and he smells so good. I don't know how to describe the weather. If you ever just like a morning waking up on the coast, like the Gulf Coast, that's what it feels like. It's warm, a little bit of humidity. I don't know, it's probably like 70%, so that's not really little, but it doesn't feel like much. And the air is almost salty. It's so fresh and so clean. Oh, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. This little warm front we have is going out with a bang. I think it's supposed to get down to like 15 or 16 tonight. Oh, it's 74 right now. 74 right now, and in a few hours, 16. Okay, well, hey, it is December after all. This is really just messing my brain up and throwing things off, so probably better if we just get back to it and get back to it being winter so that I can get back into the proper mindset, because when it's nice out and I can't do yard work, I can't plant and I can't do things, that's when I start to really get antsy. Just throws off my brain. What are you barking at, buddy? Are you ready to go inside? You trying to tell us something? I'll let you inside. Just give me a minute. I'm talking to the people here. To the plant people. People want to know about the weather. I guess that's really not necessary. And yeah, Christmas is over, so I'm just going to be taking stuff down. It would be smart of me to do this now, because in a few hours it's going to be 30 degrees outside, but I also have things I need to do in the house. So, and I don't mind. This stuff can stay up until just after New Year's. That's not going to bother me. I don't rush to have things down December 27th or 28th, whatever today is. And just because it's going to be really cold the next few days, it's not going to stay that way. I think the high is like 49 in a week or so. Yeah, okay, well, there's the update. It's going to get cold. So I think, like I mentioned before, having to get back to the grow space probably, because we've done about everything we can do out here this time of year. And that's nice. Oh, what happened to you? Where'd your nose go? Yeah, I know. I keep saying we're going to go inside, but I can't stop doing things outside. It's too nice. Really. I was just in the garage. I got all the ornaments down. Still have this guy out here. It's going to take a while till I can get that moved inside. It goes in a spot in the basement that's like behind a bunch of the Christmas stuff, so I got to bring the totes up for the Christmas. It's just going to take a while. Might be had it for a couple more weeks. I don't know. But I got the ornaments down, and I left a few. I don't really know why. If I were to say it just felt right, would that make sense? Probably not. But to me, I don't know. I was taking ornaments down, and for some reason, I just felt like I should leave those 3. I don't know. There's something about sitting outside in the wintertime, by the fire, and I'll still have the lights on everything. Be nice if I could swap the colored lights out with multicolor lights on that windmill palm. But chances are in the next couple weeks, we'll be getting the type of cold fronts where I have to move that windmill palm in for the rest of the winter time. So that won't even be there. I might go ahead and stick this white tree or something over there in that corner, just because I feel like there needs to be something there. But I don't know. There's just something about it. I just felt like I should leave a few. I don't know why. It just felt like they should stay. It's just the color or the shade of green that was just speaking to me. Like there's something about how they're just a little imperfect that just, I don't know, made things feel more comfortable. Took the snowman in, broke down that Christmas tree. I was tempted to leave those big bells that were hanging from this white fake birch stick thing. I was tempted to leave those in the bottom of that container because it was helping to hold it in place, but I thought, you know what, I do like these, so let's take them aside so that they don't get ruined. And then I moved another container. It's gonna be hard to see, but there's a container over there pinned up against the side of the greenhouse. I have 2 very heavy containers on each side of that, and there's, I don't know, it's got a lot of stuff wrapped around it. I don't think that greenhouse is going anywhere. But yeah, so anyways, I grabbed all these ornaments, put them in a tote crate thing, took them around to the garage, and put those down with the snowman and then brought the Christmas tree on. I was standing there and I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be moving plants out. Like I wanted to grab the dolly and start moving the tropicals out. That's how nice it feels. It feels like a warm spring day, but the breeze is starting to pick up. The blue is starting to fade from the sky. Oh, that's kind of a cute little cloud, weird kind of face going on there. And, you know, it's going to be 19 degrees in like 12 hours. So probably shouldn't do that, but that's just, I'm all thrown off now. Everything feels wrong. It feels like spring. So yes, we could go into the grow space and do some things in there, but the problem is I don't know what. There's not that much to do. I just watered. I've gone around and pruned recently. I did a couple small repots that wasn't worth filming. Just a couple things I noticed were, you know, strong ones. I popped them up real quick into a larger container. Things that take, 30 seconds. And, I don't know, it's just business as usual in there. And we're in a weird time of year. I say that like 5 times a year. Sort of. Not really. Well, no, I do. We have lots of awkward transitional periods when it comes to gardening where it's like, oh, okay, well, I could do this, but that should probably wait. Wouldn't hurt to jumpstart it. I do have some bulbs inside that I totally forgot about that I could plant, but I was just going to stick them in my wine fridge. That's what I've been doing most years. I've been popping them in the wine fridge and then pulling them out in the spring and planting them, and boom, they pop up and they look beautiful. The thing is, with me at least, when it comes to bulb planting, in the fall, I don't want to do it. I'm tired. There's lots of cleanup to be done in the backyard and all of the plants to be moved into the house. But then when spring comes around, I'm just like aching to start doing yard work. So I really prefer to plant my fall bulbs in the spring. And I have a wine fridge that I don't use because I don't drink wine. I don't remember why I have it. I think I used to keep like bottled water and sodas and stuff in it in the office. I was like, this is so cool. I got it on a sale. And I'm like, well, this is a stupid thing to own. But it's coming in very nifty for bulbs. There are a lot of bulbs popping up at the base of this windmill palm over here. And I've been debating, I probably shouldn't do this, but I've been debating lifting those up and planting them around the Chinese fan palms in the greenhouse in there. The only reason I'm not going to do that is because even though, yes, it would be warm enough in there, as long as it stays above like 35 for those bulbs to get going, I don't think it'd be a great idea quite yet because the day lengths are still so short. That's a big part of what triggers bulbs is the ground temperatures warm up, and then the length of light does play a role. It depends, like, tulips and I suppose daffs where they're just shooting up a flower. Not so much, but anything that comes up with foliage, the day length does matter. Although I'm pretty sure it's just daffs over there. Do I have any crocus? I don't think so. And then do I want the little enclosed greenhouse to smell like daffodils? Not really. It's not my favorite smell. But it would be colorful and so cute. Let's just do it. All right, y'all talked me into it. I mean, I think that it's the right move, don't you? You don't have to lift them all up, but we can just pull some of them. Right? I'll come in. I'm going to go grab a scoop. We'll lift some of those up. Then clear a spot out in one of those containers and pot some of these up in there. Found a little, it's a little diving jewel, my niece, when she was here over the summer. Somehow this made it into the container. Surprise, surprise! Couldn't find my little gardening fork, but that's okay. That's what these are for. Get down here. I think this is a mix of tete-a-tetes and, I don't know, something else. I don't remember the name of them. They had really big, weird flowers on them, and I wasn't crazy about them. I don't remember what they were called. They had a very bizarre flower. It's one of those things where when you were buying them, the picture was like, oh, wow, how cool. And then they bloomed, and you're like, oh, what is that? Okay, there is a downside to doing this, and it is that I'm now opening up holes and exposing the palm, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll toss some soil in here when I'm done. You can lift bulbs. You just want to get way down underneath them and do it before they have too many roots out. So this probably would have been a good idea to do a little while ago because they have lots of roots, but that's okay. That's all right. They're going to be fine because I'm going to be potting them back up into something else. And see, I think these are probably the bigger bulbs down here. They just keep going. I had 2 rows of bulbs in these containers. So I'm just pulling from this side. I'm not going to take a ton. I think it'd be nice to have something I can put in that greenhouse for some color because I'm ready for spring. And we are 7 days into winter. Dang, did you sink yourself down? That one's way down there. I don't know if I'm going to get that one out. Okay, that one can stay. Don't need to pull them all up. from this side because, well, that'll look weird come springtime. If there's a huge trunk right here that doesn't have bulbs in it. Didn't think that through, did I? Okay. That's the last one. I only have like 4 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 2 of these bigger ones and 2 of these smaller ones because I don't remember what they are. Also, like I said, I don't want to have big holes in here come springtime when they start to flower. Oh, if your bulbs come up, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The winter will kick their asses back down to the ground and they'll know what to do. They should be fine. As long as they don't get too tall. Not usually a thing to worry about. Some of these are very deep. I didn't want to go like too far down in here. Good on me for planting them nice and deep. I don't remember doing that, but apparently I did. And I also was starting to try and get some of these that were down deeper and realized, you know what, probably shouldn't be doing too much tearing and ripping on the trunk, or the windmill palm, that is, those roots. Probably just leave those intact. That felt so good. That was so satisfying. Having my hands down in the soil is so soft and silky. Oh, miss it. Very refreshing. Should really just use the blower for that, but my hands are already dirty, so who cares? And then if you were wondering why I'm not just planting the bulbs I have in the house out here in the greenhouse, it's because, well, they haven't had their chill yet. Everything needs its winter chill, or else they're not going to bloom very well. Wow, it is toasty in here. I had these guys going full blast just because it's supposed to, you know, be windy with a drastic drop. It might be too much. Feeling like a rainforest, that's for dang sure. It's hot. I'm guessing 90. That's not going to be a goal temperature. Don't worry, I'm not going to be keeping things like that all year in here. It's just for right now because, you know, why not, right? Need to warm things up for the plants. There's these pine needles. Got pine needles everywhere in here. This is a bulb from a curcuma, and that's still pretty solid. Whole bunch of these curcuma bulbs in here, so I should just leave those where they are, and then that's not too hot, is it? I think that's okay. I'm gonna do the bulbs over here towards the front at the side by the pond. That would be cute. And I don't remember what they are, so I don't know how tall they're going to get. So it's probably just a smarter place to plop them. Okay. Do one of these guys right here, which I think is a smaller bulb. I guess I think those are the tete-a-tetes or something similar. They might be minnows, perhaps, or these might be the, I don't know. They're all going in the same hole. And I get them covered up. They can be exposed some. In fact, with the humidity that's going to be in here, probably better that they are exposed just a smidge. I'll go through and need to tuck those roots down. Get them covered up properly. Those should be good. Yeah, maybe there'll be a nice little flower show in a while. There, bulbs. That should be good. It's possible nothing's going to happen with them because the temperatures are just going to be bouncing all over the place in here all winter long. I figured, why not? Could be fun to get some color in here. I've also been thinking it might be fun to sprinkle some seed on top of these 2 containers. Something that's a little bit slower to get going. Would be really pretty come spring or summer. Maybe just, you know, some impatiens or something like that. That might be nice. But again, that all just depends on what the temperatures are going to be like in here. And it's still too soon to tell. I can guess. My guess would be that things should stay warm in here, but I don't really know. There's more thermal mass. So there's a lot more plants in here than there were a few weeks ago when we had that drop down to 6 degrees. And that's going to help re-release warmth, right, if it gets really, really cold, which it's going to tonight. But we are surely going to have plenty of evenings coming up where it's going to be maybe 0 degrees, maybe even below 0. I don't know. Seems like most winters we do drop below 0 Fahrenheit. So I would just hope that things stay about 30 degrees above what's going on outside. And that's just all we can do. Just hope for the best. You know, maybe sacrifice some bulbs, maybe get some flowers out of it. Who knows? All right, time to wait. Just waiting for the cold to roll in. And then I can guarantee you, as soon as I step outside and feel like a really brisk cold, they're like, oh, I want to go work in the grow space and do something with the plants. Okay, it happened. Winter is back. I don't want to go out there. I'm so glad that I got a bunch of stuff done outside yesterday. Went from 77 to 15. 77 to 15. That's too cold. 70, what? Oh, yesterday it was beautiful though, until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I got really gloomy and dark, and it was just wind. Strong, very strong wind all day. Excuse you. That was weird. Dogs are funny. Greenhouse still standing, and those winds were intense. Really strong. They were saying gusts up to like 55, 60 miles an hour. Still there. So I think we're good. That's great news, and it is 56 degrees in the greenhouse. That's wonderful. I want to go out there, but I also don't feel like putting on pants because it's hot out there in the grow space. Freezing cold out there to get to the greenhouse. That's a good way to wake yourself up, the little cold shock. I mean, oh, get me going. I just woke up. That wasn't clear. It's early. Very early. But it's like almost 10 a.m. I didn't just wake up, but it's been one of those days where I haven't gotten a lot done, you know? So I'm just now getting up and moving, that kind of thing. But I've been up and working on the computer for like 2 hours. And it's 74 in here. It's quite pleasant. It's not hot. Cozy. It's quite cozy. That thing's been running just like 24/7 though, which is not ideal. I've been getting all kinds of little cleaning type tasks done out here. Added the rest of Turbo's fish to the bubble tube. Turbo got a bunch of fish for Christmas. Let's see, we got axolotls and super fake looking everything else. The clownfish, that's not bad. That's not a bad clownfish dupe. But everything else is just like, what in the heck? What is that? It'd be cool if they could make them look like real fish, but Turbo doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. Is the axolotl tangled up with another fish? No. I think it's alright. He loves this thing. Now, too, I didn't really care about having the fish in here, but I had a couple of these little, whatever, these Robo-Alive fish things for my nephew. And I popped them in there to see if he'd think they were cool, and he did, and then Turbo discovered them, and well now all this is happening. Anyways, the stuff I've been getting done out here, I feel like this is all you ever see me drinking. I have one a day, but it just happens to be like when it's time to talk, I'm like, oh, let me pop open something to drink. That's it. I don't think I even had one over the weekend. Anyways, did some pruning on some things. I got these cute little greenhouses for Christmas. Aren't they adorable? Those were really nice gifts. Very thoughtful. We'll have fun with those. I like the kind of gothic style on this one. Can we? There we go. No, come on. Get it, camera. Get it. Oh, there we go. You see the little pokey finials? Those are finials, right? It's nice. Just a little miniature Victorian greenhouse. These are very small, though. We're gonna look at that. Not going to be putting much of anything in them, but they're still cute. This can be nifty when you get a new plant and it just needs a place to hang out, acclimate, adjust. Something that maybe needs some more humidity if we're having a period where that heater's having to run a lot more. Maybe the air is going to be more dry. Humidity right now in here is like 70-something. I think is what I saw earlier today. This isn't bad because the heater's been running so much. Oh, well, you can't see it. Well, anyways, I cut back the Petunia that was in this terrarium because it was looking pretty sad. So that's getting a reset. Everything in here just got a big water, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned, and a spray. I do that, I don't know. Whenever I see pests, I grab the spray and I spray. Lately, that's been about once a week I'm seeing something and having to spray for it, which is good because it was like every, I don't know, day for a while. So that's getting better, but it's one of those things where it's just kind of becoming part of daily habit is to come out, walk around, look at the plants. If something needs water, give it water. Usually it's the basil. The basil's usually the one where out of nowhere it's just like, oh my god, I'm dying. Life is so hard. That everything else, it's just ritual. Same old, same old. You have days where yesterday this leaf was like, yeah, not quite ready to go today. I could go ahead and snap that off. That's all yellow. And take those off of there. I think this begonia could use a prune. That's got this leggy piece on here, or at least an adjustment. It's growing very well. Potted this up when I moved everything inside. So this is back in probably October or November. This is just a little guy. It's tossed into a container. So I was like, oh, this is cute. I want to hold on to that. I think I even saw some flower buds on here the other day. I may have snapped them off. This was growing that direction, so I turned it, and this is one of those begonias where you barely touch it, and just all the leaves go falling off of it. I mean, not that time while I was giving you an example, but that time when I turned it, a lot of the stuff fell off. So I've got a new leaf over here on the elbow. That's exciting. Not looking very elbow, though, which is not great. That is a completely all green leaf, so we're gonna have to cut that off. But that's still good because it means the plant is rooted, it's growing. I have a whole bunch of cuttings that I did in here back in October when I moved my big one. I was like, let's just start chopping this guy up and put him into some smaller containers because it's growing all over the place. That way I have some that I can give away, something like that, you know, do some other things with. So should probably grab my clippers and cut that off. Though I really do not mind a green monstera. I think they're quite lovely. I am still going to give this a cut. Not going all the way down to the base. I want to leave room on that stem where it'll pop open a new leaf, so I probably should go down even further. Generally, when I have something that starts to revert in variegation, I like to go back like 2 to 3 leaves on it. Basically want to make sure that there's some white on the stem. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see what it's going to do, because this particular elbow has been very good about maintaining its variegation in the last 3 or 4 years. That's the first green leaf I've ever seen come out of one, so let's just see what it does. What a cute leaf. Love the leaves on a monstera. Okay, I can see those. So I'll cut them. I got my snips right here. Not my snips, my scissors, which are clearly not very sharp. What the heck? There we go. Yeah, look at that. What a cute leaf. So cute. Seeing some more gnat activity out here, so I should probably start putting down my, it's not natural. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. You know, this stuff. It's a powder. I mix it with water and water into the plants. But I just watered a couple days ago, so I'll just do the sticky traps for right now. Next to my water, I'll mix this stuff in. I need to find it or order more. I'm pretty sure I'm just about out anyways. So, what is this stuff called? Bactive. It's Bacillus thuringiensis. It's the same thing as the mosquito dogs or the natural, which is basically just this, but much more expensive. Although I don't know how much this costs anymore, because, well, I've had this one for a couple of years now, and as you can see, it has expired. It still seems to work great, though. I use it, the fungus gnats disappear, so that's why I haven't bought a new one yet. Okay, I just did some digging, and it looks like this has been discontinued, unfortunately, but that's okay. All you have to do is look for a product that contains the Bacillus thuringiensis with the strain. Can you see it right there? Israelensis. You get it. So BT, if you're into the gardening, you may have heard of BT, because BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis, is often used for caterpillar control. You know, it's just the little guys that, what are they called? The net worms? I don't know. I don't see them that often. Bagworms, those things. Which is similar to this, but a different subspecies, a different strain of the bacteria. It starts with a K. I can't remember the full name of it, but I looked into it. It doesn't look like that is known to do anything for the gnats. But anything you find that is the Israelensis type should work. So that's an option for you. But this is not an option for you, because I spent a little bit of time, not a lot, but you know, I googled it, and it doesn't exist. It's almost like it never did exist. So that's not very helpful. I'm so sorry. Oh, they have a website, inbiohub.com. I'll look into that, see what I can find, because this one is expired. But like I said, it's still working, so I suppose it's okay. But how long is that going to be the case, right? So I don't know, switch to natural or something else when that runs out, or when it stops being effective. But the fungus gnats, when there's a few little flying around here, it doesn't really bother me. It's just part of having a lot of plants in the fish, because they like to live in the filters over there, and the different waterfall spaces. You know, there's lots of places around here where that water probably gets still behind the filter and everything for the larvae of the fungus gnats to do their thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. We'll figure something out. Next to my water, though, I'm just saying I'm going to be adding this to my mix. Give everything a good drench with that, and that'll help keep the fungus gnats under control. Oh, new leaf opening up on the little tie over there. That's exciting. I chopped a huge portion of that off a few months ago when I brought it in. The contractor, friend of the family's, who was here doing some work, was talking about how his daughter's really into plants and everything. I said, oh, well, here you go. And I just chopped off a huge portion of that plant. I said, she can have this, and she knew what to do with it. She stuck it in some nice aeroid mix, and hopefully it's growing for her. It's nice to see that this guy's pushing out some new growth after being chopped. Always reassuring. I feel like we're supposed to go out to that greenhouse and have a look, but I don't really know why. I can see the temperature. It says that it's 56. I think that that's fine. I'd rather leave that door closed for a little bit, but eventually we'll go out there and see how everything's doing. Made it. I don't know why I was being such a baby. It's not that bad. It's like a, 4-second walk from the door to the greenhouse. Really wasn't bad at all. Especially because I managed to squeeze out in between the gusts of wind. One problem that I have discovered is that Turbo has figured out how to unzip the door so that he can squeeze in here. That's going to be a problem. Don't really know what I'm going to do about it. It's a single zipper, and I don't want to make it to the point where if he tugs at too much, he'll rip it. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess the whole point of having the temperature sensors in here so I can check on things. But that's a big gap that's down there, and that's because just a moment ago I saw Turbo trying to dig his way underneath that, and he kind of unzipped it and tried to crawl out and crawl back in. So, that's great. Every little gust of wind, it just pours droplets of water. Kind of nice. Yeah, so it's 58 in here now. Temperature's going up now that it's up to 18 degrees outside. And I think this is good. I'm happy with this. I don't feel any major drafts. You know, a week or so ago, came through and put tape down along the seams of these windows that are over here, and I have everything pinned down fairly tightly along the back wall. Yeah. I don't feel a cold breeze coming from anywhere. It does feel, my legs are a little cold, but I think that's just because, you know, it's cold. I don't have on pants, so, you know, that'll do it. I am curious to come out here with the soil thermometer and poke that into the pots that are closest to the plastic over here, because, you know, there's not much protection there, right? Did you see that? You saw it, right? He just tried to do the thing under the zipper. Yeah, it might be too cold to have some of these plants tucked up close to the plastic. Their foliage really shouldn't be touching the plastic. Oleander will be fine. But things like the spindle palm, that's a good 1.5 feet out from the side walls. I'm trying to make sure it's only plants that are super tough that are like right up against it. None of them are touching the plastic. The bamboo palms are my main concern because I wasn't able to tape those windows on that side of the greenhouse down because there really wasn't a way to get to them. But it's nice breezy back there because there's that brick wall on the other side and there's not much air getting back there. So, are we good? I think we're good. The spindle palm is probably the most risky to have out here, but like I think I've talked about this before during the garden tour last weekend. They can take a little bit of cold as long as they aren't wet. So since I have these other more Mediterranean style plants in here that are similar, like the oleander and the olive over there, these are plants where it should be, oh, not that a spindle palm's anywhere near as hardy as an oleander, but I've just noticed through many, many, many years of trial with these guys that they're generally good to about 26 degrees. You'll see a lot of damage on them, but they'll usually survive that as long as it's very brief. And I am hopeful that it never drops to 26 in here, right? So, we should be good. So it's 15 now. It's not likely. Well, it could. A few years ago, we had a full week of temperatures around -10 Fahrenheit. I think I done a -13 Fahrenheit one night. If that happens, that means it would be in like the low to mid 20s in here. That could be a problem. But also, if that happens, I'm going to run a third heater into this place and find a different breaker to hook up to. And I'll just unplug everything that's running off of the breaker so that we can keep things toasty in here, or at least, you know, above 30. But I don't know. It doesn't seem likely. It could happen, but it really doesn't seem likely. I'm going to assume that we'll probably drop to 0, maybe -5 at some point this winter. And if that happens, then again, maybe around 30 to 25 in here, and then I just bring in another heater. But most of the winter time, or more cold days, are going to be like between 5 degrees and 15. And then the extreme cold, more rare days is when we might drop below that. But hopefully it won't be that often. There's just no way to tell. The winters have become so... all the seasons, really, have become incredibly unpredictable. You know, like how it was 77 yesterday, and it's, 18 degrees right now? What the heck's happening? I think we all know what's going on there. So, yeah, this is good. I'm happy. I know I keep saying that. I don't really know what else to say. Things are looking good, and they're healthy. Maybe those bulbs will grow. I'm going to think about some different seeds to scatter around in here. And just have to keep an eye on things for a few days and really see how these heaters do. I'm going to push these closer together. That's something that I did note. Right now the heater's blowing on me. I'm being selfish. I'm taking all the hot air. But normally having these heaters close enough so that their warm air hits right there and comes up to the middle, that does make a big difference as far as the temperatures go. And I did have this one pushed back further. I'm not entirely sure. What are you doing? What do you have, Turbo? What's in your mouth? What do you got there, Turbs? Is it something delicious? No? Okay. Never know. It's probably just a stick or a twig, something. Yeah, so if I put these closer together, that will actually probably heat the place more efficiently too. So I'm going to do that before I go inside, and we'll see what happens. I think the high day is only like 20. It's not really supposed to warm up very much, so it's not exactly very sunny either. And it is incredibly windy. So that's, that's going to cool this thing off even more. If it's not as windy, then I would like to think that it would stay even warmer in here, right? Even though I've eliminated the majority of the drafts, there's still going to be some, because, it's freaking plastic. There's not much to it. There's no insulation. Could always throw a huge tarp over this, too. That would make a big difference. If it gets super cold, I might do that instead of running another heater in here, or do both. We have lots of options. Something I do need to keep in mind that I'm noticing is that I should probably put either a second heater in here or a stronger heater. The goldfish don't need the heat. However, it's not good for them to have ups and downs and ups and downs. So for it to be extreme changes, they don't like that. And when the temperature plummets 20, 30 degrees in here, the temperature in there also drops down some. So it went from 79 yesterday, which is really probably too warm for a goldfish, but they're doing fine with it. They're not up gasping for air. It's not overstocked, and there's some live plants in there, which I think is helping an awful lot. And there's another pump in there circulating. So there's a good amount of oxygen exchange between the surface and everything. I'm also not worried about it because I've kept ponds for years, up until like my mid-20s anyways. And the water would regularly hit like 75 to 83 at the highest during the summers when we would have extreme heat spells. The fish were always fine as long as the water was deep enough and you had enough turnover and live plants and there were some shady areas. They were fine. But the water dropped to 76 last night, so from 79 to 76. A 3-degree drop is a lot, and that can stress them out quite a bit. They would probably prefer to be more stable, so I'm going to go ahead and readjust this heater to try and maintain 76 degrees, 79. I really don't know why it was even up that high. So now that's already down there, we're going to keep it there, and I'm probably going to grab another heater to put in here just to run as a backup in case that heater doesn't work, and also just because, well, the one heater isn't quite enough. It's struggling to keep it there when it's in the 50s in here, and it's probably going to be in the 50s in here for the next at least probably 6 weeks. Well, that's not true. It's supposed to be like 35 or 40 in a few days, and then who knows how warm it'll be in here. You get what I'm saying, right? Trying to make it so that there's some more power, keep things moving. Now, I felt that breeze, Turbo. That was a strong gust of cold air that came through your stupid little turbo door. All right, I'll just have to keep an eye on him when I let him outside, make sure he's not just running over and bolting in here, because he will do that. That's what turbos do. They like to check on their fish. Hi, baby. How you doing? What a good boy. Such a good turbo. All right. Hey, there it is. Greenhouse is good. Things are good in the grow space. There's just not much to do right now. I'm so sorry. What are you doing? Do you need to go outdoors? That's up to you. I'm not going to make it. Oh, everybody's here. Hey, Pumpkin. Kitten. Turbo has a boo-boo. You got a boo-boo. He hurt his foot. He hasn't been putting weight on. We got an appointment with the vet. It's not swollen. So I think he just, I don't know. I don't see a thorn or anything in there. Something yesterday. He just started doing that. So maybe a little twisted ankle. I don't know. The vet's going to see him. He's got his gabapentin. I wish there were better things we could do with pet meds, pain-wise. Are you ready to go outside? Okay. He has not been wanting to get up and move. If he's saying he wants to go out, I'm gonna listen. There you go. Good boy. Holy crap, it's cold. Okay, I'm gonna walk him to the grass, and then we can go see everything did in the greenhouse last night, because it got down to 13 last night. Okay, he did his thing, put more weight on it. That's a good sign. And he still has the urge to see his fish, so that's good. There you go. so excited about the fish. Oh, it feels nice in here. Really nice. So, I pulled those heaters closer together, and it did get cold last night. Colder last night, but stayed warmer in here. Isn't that exciting? I know, baby, your poor foot. But you can see her. Oh, that's probably disappointing. I dumped a ton of aquarium plants in here. It's cleaning out the freshwater tank, and I have all this, what is this, hornwort that was in there, and it had just taken over to the point where like the fish could barely move. So I took that, pulled it, and I dumped it in here because the goldfish will eat it. Well, that's obstructing Turbo's view. Well, hey, I'm just happy he at least had the urge to come out here and see the fish. That's good. That's so good, Turbo. That's so good. He's still wagging his tail and stuff. It's just hard when you see your pets in pain because, you know, they can't communicate with you. And dogs, at least Labradors, those are pretty much all I've had is Labradors, and I had a Spaniel mix too. They have this air of shame about them when they aren't feeling well, which, you know, it makes sense. You know, if they were wolves and they were injured, they just, you know, get eaten, right? So, makes sense to be pretty uneasy when you're injured. I spent a lot of time just trying to make him feel better. Okay, hey, 2 nights in the teens, everything stayed warm. Very reassuring. I realized last night, after I'd been in here talking about checking soil temperatures, which I'm going to do today, that I have, I think, enough foil, the foil insulation, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like a bubble wrap kind of material that I could put down underneath things and maybe alongside of these bamboo palms over here. Clownfish says hello. I had to come over. Need my grippy thing. Didn't realize that I have the... What is that? I have the foil insulation I need to grab is up high. I can't reach it. This is a magnet. AI, Aqua Illuminations. Goes to the back, one of these wave makers here. I ended up on this side, I had to put on a magnetic plate because the tank was fitted so closely to the wall that anything that needs a magnet for the other side of the glass, it wasn't going to work. I guess that magnet found its way to the ground. What is that, kitten? You like that? Is that fine? No? Okay. Yeah. Always having to make things work. Colby says hi too. It's nice. Everybody's out. Okay. Yeah, the foil. It's all the way up there. Oh, good timing. The heater decided to go into it. No, it just kicked back on. Pretty sure this heater is just as much of a piece of crap as all the other ones. Kicks on, kicks off, kicks on, kicks off. It's not supposed to do that. Anyways, this is what I was talking about. This is the foil stuff. You can use this in the greenhouse. Maybe if I can get it down. I do not want those pieces from the bird cage to come down. Because, well, that would really, really hurt. Ha! Oh my gosh, just need to press down harder. Oh, no? Okay. I thought that these had a much better grip than this. Come on. Come on. Come on. This stuff is not heavy. I should be able to... Sorry, couldn't even see it. I should be able to squeeze this. Get in there. Give it a really tight squeeze. No? Just not strong enough. I'll have to get a ladder. At least I found my grippies. I've been wondering where those went. No. I was just doing it wrong. I was trying to grab too big of a piece. See? See? Just need to grab that little section right there. Got it. Do you get what's going on now? Did you hear that? It just turned off and turned right back on. Not sure if that's going to be enough. I think it'll do. Pumpkin, where you going? Hi. What you doing, Pumpkin? You're not going to say hi? She's not been very talkative lately. You used to just talk my ear off all day long. That cat was constant. It's meow, 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 meow. You're getting more quiet in your old age, Pumpkin. Do you want to go back out? You want to go out there? That's surprising. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm not going to make you. But I need to get by you. I think Buddy does too. What are we going to do here? We can go out the other door. Oh, no? You do want to go out? Okay. All right. We can do that. He's taking that gabapentin, which makes him pee and drink a ton. I'm so glad they're getting along. By getting along, I just mean Buddy isn't trying to kill him every 30 seconds. Buddy, he's little and he's feisty. He's not even that little. He's like 45 pounds, maybe, but Turbo's he's such a beast, but he feels little next to him. Yeah, so I'm just going to take this and just, cut a piece big enough to put underneath everything over here. I really could wait to do this a few more days when it's warmer, so I could scoot some of the stuff out. I don't know, may as well do it this way, the harder way. Why not, right? Doesn't need to go the whole length, just where I have the plants. I won't be wasting this stuff. I'll do about that much. The whole point here is that I'm just trying to create a barrier between the bottom of the containers. That's not going to be a glamorous shot. I don't think there's going to be a good way to make that shot look all that pretty. You get it. Take the scissors, cut right through it. And avoid the electrical wires. That'd be pretty bad. Yeah, this just provides a barrier between the bottoms of the containers and the concrete. Concrete and just earth really pulls the warmth out of everything. So it's good to have something between the containers and the ground. It just helps keep them warmer. So that way the plants are going to be, hopefully, air temperature and not where the temperature of the ground is. Yeah, just like that. It's just a thermal barrier. These guys down here, they don't need that. The green stalk is up and on wheels, so it's not in contact with the ground anyways. I just figure, you know, since these are near the plastic, probably a good idea to have something separating them right there. And then, yeah, I guess I'll cut a piece to go down below those guys and behind them too. And, well, that's it. I know, not the most eventful video, but hey, it's the holidays. We just wrapped up Christmas. Family's still in town, kind of. They left town, but they'll be back. It's just how we do things around here. Keep it complicated, but it's nice to get longer stays together. And things are sort of at a standstill right now. Not much to be done for the next couple of weeks, other than just, you know, odds and ends. Yeah. Oh, also, this is nice. I noticed I had it butted up against the plastic, so it's keeping, there's a little bit of cold air. Tiny, tiny bit that I could feel when my hands were down there. That sandwiched over the top, so now that's keeping that cold air out too. So this should help bring up the temperature of the roots of the plants, which is very, very important. Don't want those roots to be very cold, or to be cold at all, really, depending on the plant. The oleander is still on top of the concrete because it can take the cold. The oleander is going to be fine. But these other guys, like, you know what? I think they would be better off if they were up and lifted from the cold ground. Because right now, it's not terrible, but it's just going to get colder and colder and colder. Well, not much colder than what it's been the last couple of days. But since it was 78 the other day, so crazy to me. We broke records there. And we had some mildish, warmish weather leading up to that. The ground outside isn't that cold yet, but come mid-January when we've been having our daily temperatures that are typically just in the 30s, and then upper to low 20s, upper teens to low 20s at nighttime. That's pretty much where we sit around during the winter time. We'll have some days in the 40s too, and days cooler than the teens. But once those temperatures are becoming more regular, which will be, I don't know, sometime in the next week or two probably, the ground everywhere is going to start to get colder and colder and colder, and that's just, of course, going to seep into here as well, which is going to make it harder to warm the space. Hence, the 2 heaters and the thermal mass. Warm water, have both of these ponds over here with some water, and that's a fountain, but you know what I mean. And then more plants, that's more stuff to hold on to the heat and let it go at night when things get really, really cold. And let's work on the heaters too. I even noticed that this morning, this one kicked off, because it was like, I don't need to run. What am I running for? It's warm in here. These plants that are up against the pond thing right here, I don't know how warm this even is though, because, oh no, that's pretty warm. That's surprisingly warm. But the liner is not totally flat up against the edge here. At least that window portion's warm. Down here, not so much. But these are yuccas and windmill palms, and there's a sable back there. They don't really need to be in any type of warm environment. It would have been nice to get the Chinese fan palms on top of something insulated. I might still be able to do that if I have somebody around at some point who can help me lift them and tilt them. Would probably be a good idea. But for now, I think I've done just about everything I can do in here, or that I need to right now. I'm going to go focus my attention on turbo. But at some point, I'll, you know, get the rest of this laid out behind those bamboo palms and underneath them. It probably is cooler back there. Those aren't sitting on patio. So the patio ends at the back of this fountain right here. And then behind that fountain is gravel, which is still, I mean, it's going to be about the same as the concrete. Still going to pull that warmth away, but it's fairly large gravel. So if it were a smaller gravel, I'd be more concerned with that. Larger gravel is actually hopefully going to hold on to some warmth. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. I'm mostly just thinking out loud here and trying to get little odds and ends done. Okay, hey, there we go. That was a fun video of nothing. I don't know what happened in this video. It happens when I can only film in small increments, you know, just a little bit every day, then I totally just lose track of what's been going down in the videos. But I don't know, hopefully something entertaining. It's just a hangout video maybe? I don't know. Somebody gave me this for Christmas. I thought this is pretty cool. It's a solar lantern that you put your plant in. You put a little potted plant in there, and at nighttime it'll light your plant up. Make a little mood light, and you can hang it on the wall. That is cool. There's two of them, actually. There's this little guy. Oh, pop that back in there. And then bigger ones. They come in a set. Well, no, they didn't come in a set. They just bought me a set of them. I think there are other shapes, too. Neat. I will have fun putting some plants on those. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm in a great life. Everything's going absolutely beautifully for you. Poor Turbo. He's okay. He's putting weight on it again. The more he gets up and move, the better it seems to feel. But still, he's got a boo-boo, and I feel bad for him. So, gonna get him to the vet, and he's been very clingy, very sad and mopey. So, I'm gonna give him all the attention he needs. Oh, I need to do some pruning on these amaryllis. Say that's done. The flowers on these white ones didn't last very long. I don't know. So we were gonna go. All right. As always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye bye.